Today, I wanted to launch a brand new series where I could talk to you guys about something that is very important to me and something that I can relate to very heavily, which is life in our 20s. When we're in our 20s, we are going through so many changes. Emotional, physical, geographical, everything is kind of up in the air. Once we graduate from college, life changes, and I feel like we don't have the resources, at least I felt that I didn't have the resources I need to be the most successful in my 20s. So that's why I created this series. I want to help you help yourself to live the absolute best life that you can, and yeah. That's kind of where we're at. The first thing I want to say is just to remember that everyone is in a different stage of their lives. When we're all in different stages of our lives, priorities vary. So when it comes to setting goals, you have to recognize where you are and where you want to be within your life. Do not compare your journey to anyone else's. I said it today, I said it again, I've said it 100 times. That's my biggest message that I could push across this platform and to the community that I'm building. Everyone is on a different journey, okay? Appreciate it, acknowledge it, don't get hung up on it. Your journey might look different than your best friends, than your parents, than your siblings. It is your journey. Make the best of it for you. When it comes to setting goals, you're gonna wanna set your long-term and your short-term goals. Keep in mind that the goals you set when you're 20, 21, 22 will vary incredibly from the goals that you set when you're 25, 27, or even 29. When we're talking about long-term versus short-term goals, when we're talking about setting yourself up for success in the future, keep in mind the people that you surround yourself with. So for my ladies, for my guys who are in relationships, think long-term in your relationships, because as unfortunate as it is, people tend to want different things and it tends to not change. So if I'm someone who says I never want kids ever, and you're someone who's like I want 4 or 5 kids but she'll change her mind, the odds of me changing my mind are slim to none. Financial goals. Financial goals are probably the most important thing that you should be focusing on in your 20s to set you up for success for the rest of your life. This is a conversation that my dad and I had probably when I was way too young to understand, but I was still old enough to remember, is you have to make good choices now. You have to plant the seeds now if you want the flowers, if you want the forests later. I firmly believe that if you spend all your money in your early 20s, if you don't save for a rainy day, that's when life can humble you really quickly. This isn't going to be a video about budgeting, this isn't going to be a video about how to manage your finances, but I will cover a couple of things that I think are important, that I think you should at least be thinking about and considering in your early 20s and on. High yield savings accounts, investing, 401k, Roth IRA. Research those phrases. When you graduate from college and you go into your first corporate job, they're gonna offer you all these different savings and retirement plans and investment plans. Take the time to research the options that are presented to you. Take the time to ask your parents or ask older siblings or go on YouTube and watch a video and learn about what it is they're telling you. Because I believe that the less you know, the worse off you are. Educate yourself in every way, in any way that you can. Professional goals. Professional goals are so important. And something that I've seen recently is that unless you want to work for someone else and their goals for the rest of your life, you need to come up with your own. Career expectations, salary alignment, cost of living, city of your dreams. These are all conversations that you need to have with yourself on a regular basis. Don't let life pass you by. Do not become so complacent in the things that you do that you forget to plan, you forget to set goals, and you forget to kind of give yourself something to strive for. I know you're going through a lot of changes are going on. Take it one day at a time. Stay focused on what you're passionate about. One of the biggest things, and maybe one of the last things that I'll say today, is that priorities change. As unfortunate as it may sound, the goals we set when we're 21 might not work for our 23-year-old version of ourselves. And that's okay. You don't want to be so hard on yourself. You get to the point in your life where you realize that you are your greatest enemy, things will start to change. Embrace the change, ebb and flow, let it move through you.
Don't be a brick wall.
Allow yourself the space to grow mentally as a person and physically and emotionally. Don't close yourself off. Something that I feel like is really important to just say to either the younger generation or the younger version of me who's watching this is, don't let the person you love hold you back from the life that you deserve. Unpopular opinion. When I really noticed how important goals were in my life was in my last relationship. The growth that we go through in our 20s is a personal and individualized growth. The people in our lives will influence the goals that we have. As you get older, as you go from being 21 to being 28, your boyfriend or your husband, your fiance will start having a input on the goals and the life that you have. And choosing that person wisely is probably the biggest piece of advice I could give you. There's a lot of things in life that you can't choose. There's a lot of circumstances that we get into, unfortunately, but choosing your husband, choosing your partner, choosing your wife is a decision that you get to make. And for me, that was a huge goal that I had for my early 20s, was to identify the person whose goals aligned with mine, whose values aligned with mine, and start a life with them. It's a lesson that I had to learn, and even with the friends that I had, the people I was with, my goals were a little bit too big for their britches. And when you start telling your goals to people who don't have the capability of supporting your mindset and your vision, it's just gonna make you feel small. For the younger me, for the you of tomorrow, for the me of the future, I want to remember my 20s, and I want to remember what I was going through and what I was learning. And this channel, this platform has been the best way for me to go through that. Thank you guys again so much for your support in my passion project. Making this kind of content is what makes me happy. It fills my cup and it brings me so much joy. So hopefully the advice I have is helpful for at least one person out there. If two, I'm lucky. As always, if you could and if you're willing to support Make-A-Wish Foundation in honor of my late friend Nyla, I appreciate you. And I will see you again next Sunday with another life lesson. Bye.